Starting with the tactical summary, Villa built up deep, exploiting the spaces in the Manchester United man-marking system to push their centre-backs high, have their full-backs running beyond their wide midfielders, whilst their wide midfielders drop, allowing either short passes to the wide midfielders or long balls in behind. Knicked especially was involved in this deeper build-up. In midfield possession, Villa overloaded the left-hand side, leaving only one attacker to contest crosses, and utilised the overloads to release the full-back or Daly in behind. And in the last 15 minutes, taking advantage of the chaos and the subs on both sides, both teams counter-attacked. Villa set pieces were huge, especially dangerous with the balls to the front post, with runners running from the blind side to beat United's zonal markers. United initially struggled against Villa's man marking of short passing options, forcing longer balls or 1-2s to release fullbacks to drive higher. Where United drew Villa to the left, they could switch quickly to the right to release Battier, especially with Paris's narrow position. And in midfield possession, the near-sided fullback supported wide build-up, with Battier being especially dangerous on regains due to her directness and crosses. Toon floated to support in the wide spaces, and Zellem pushed higher to recycle and for pullbacks. United were always happy to play direct, from open play with long balls for Galton in behind, or early balls into Russo and Toon, and on these counter-attacks, the wide midfielders could narrow to centre-forward positions, especially when Toon and Russo were involved in beating the initial counter-press. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, consider sharing on social media and subscribing. With that, let's get into the examples. So to start, we have United pressing in a 4-1-4-1 with Russo pressing towards the centre-back and the near-sided wide midfielder being dragged deeper by the positioning of both the wide midfielder and the fullback running beyond for Aston Villa. So we can see the dilemma for United's defence here, with Knicked, the left winger, dropping and dragging Blundell into Villa's half, whilst Mailing, the right back, pushes really high up, running beyond her forward. This in what I would call a 2-4 shape by Villa. Fortunately for United, the attack breaks down and they're able to pass back to Mary Earps and reset, setting up into their 2-4 shape against the 4-1-4-1 press of Aston Villa, with them marking the short passing options and initially forcing those long balls, which we see on this occasion allows Aston Villa to regain possession, push higher up the pitch and get Daly on the ball. Daly, who was floating all across the pitch and looking to play those longer balls into the fullbacks or the wide midfielders running in behind. As on this occasion, which again is defended, but Aston Villa are able to regain possession, sustaining this pressure. And so we see Patton again being able to pull out into a wide space because of that Manchester United pressing shape and the wide midfielders being dragged deeper towards their half, and Patton being able to launch a long ball for the wide midfielder, fullback near side. On this occasion, it's Daly who's running in behind. United get the ball back due to Daly being offside, and we see them setting up into a 2-4 or a 3-2 deep shape, with Blundell on this occasion pushing high up. And with that, United try to play into Toon and Russo centrally, with on this occasion Toon being the one dropping deeper, but it could be either. Here United use the fact that they've been building up repeatedly on the left hand side to then switch the ball to the right hand side, taking advantage of all the space created by Paris tucking inside, coming narrow, playing essentially as a second centre forward, and Battier is able to race down the touchline and provide one of her trademark whipped dangerous crosses. And briefly, I just wanted to mention the left hand side overload for Villa, where they would have all the forwards and Pacheco attack that left hand side, overload it, and then look to cross to either Knicked or Rachel Daly in the box. Given Villa's goals this game, you have to mention their corner kicks, the ones being especially dangerous where they initially set up in this line towards the blind spot of the United defenders in a line, and then they scattered from this position, making it very difficult for the defenders to anticipate their run, with the ball often being delivered towards the front post, but on occasion they mixed it up. And so we saw that on a number of occasions throughout the match, such as the 9th minute or the 35th minute. Moving on to the 48th minute, we've got United setting up in essentially a 2-4 or a 2-2 shape. I say 2-2 just because the midfield stayed really deep with the centre backs and the fullbacks were pushed so high up to try and take advantage of the 4-1-4-1 shape, and the fact that the wide midfielders Villa want to stay relatively narrow and quite high with their centre midfielders rather than concede ground and push really deep. And so on this occasion, we see United trying to build up in that left hand side, often utilising the fullback, but then also Toon would often play in those wide channels too. So sometimes she would swap with the wide midfielder, allowing them to push higher and inside, or she would just overload the space, trying to drag one of the Villa defenders away from the fullback or wide midfielder to allow them to gain some momentum. But also notice Katie Zellum pushing up. So we saw her a little bit deeper earlier, but looking to try and take up a position on the edge of the box of cutback. Villa rebuff the attack on the left-hand side, and United switch it towards the right-hand side. Now we can see Toon in that right wing position with Paris instead inside. This is what United did when they built up from deeper too, where they would have their wide midfielders narrow to try and create those spaces for switches for the fullback. United managed to keep possession in this right-hand side channel, and they try and release Paris with a run from inside to out, but are forced to pass it back into Katie Zellum, who then switches it towards the centre of the pitch. Again, just testing the Villa defensive structure, forcing them to cover left to right and back again, and eventually United get the ball into Hayley Ladd, and with all the covering across, Ladd is able to progress really high up the pitch and looks to fire a ball into all the forwards very narrow, and eventually this ends with Katie Zellum playing across into the box, which is defended. And then the last thing to mention is just in the last 10 minutes after all the subs, so the likes of Lehman coming on and the numerous United attackers, the game became extremely stretched with the fresh legs versus the flagging defenders. And with that, if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider sharing it on social media, subscribing, and if you are looking for more women's football analysis, please have a look at our playlist. And with that, we're out.